Hare Krishna. Now we're continuing the 13th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. And if you remember that these last three chapters are about what is known as Jnana Yoga, which is metaphysics, and it is the intellectual understanding of the Absolute. Very, very wonderful things that we find in this part of the Gita. And we begin by Arjuna is asking some technical questions from Krishna, or at least the topic becomes technical. And he asks the following things. He wants to know, and as usual, let's begin with the Sanskrit. He says, Prakritim Purusham Chaiva Kshetram Kshetragyameva Cha Etad Veditum Uchami Jnanam Geyam Chakeshava. And then Krishna replies, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Idam Sharira Konteya Kshetramitta Vidiyate Etad Yovetita Prahu Kshetragya Ititad Vida. And the translation, Arjuna says, Oh my dear Krishna, I wish to know about Prakriti, nature, Purusha, the enjoyer, and the field, and the knower of field, and of knowledge, and the object of knowledge. Pretty interesting. Nature, what's nature? Who is the enjoyer? What is the field, and the knower of the field? And then what is knowledge? And ultimately, what is the object or the goal of knowledge? So Krishna immediately begins by answering, and he says, this body is called the field, and one who knows this body is called the knower of the field. So you usually get this vision of this idea of field. The field is the field of activity, somewhere where things happen, where something transpires, what happens in the field. Well, in this field, we know that there are so many things that are actually going on. The heart is beating, I'm speaking, I'm looking, you're watching. These are the activities of the field. And so Krishna says that the body is the field, and one who knows this body is the knower of the field. So, because Arjuna asked, he says, I want to know who the knower of the field is. So, who knows the body? Who is aware of the body? Well, we've spoken about this a lot. It's more or less the most pervasive topic of the Bhagavad Gita, and that is understanding the distinction between the field and the knower of the field, between the body and who is the person that knows the body, who's the person who's speaking. I'm speaking by the use of a tongue, but who is it that's actually speaking? And I'm looking and I'm reading Bhagavad Gita, that who's seeing through the eyes? And by speaking and by seeing, I'm acquiring knowledge. Right now, the knowledge I'm acquiring is by my reading Bhagavad Gita, and also I know that I've been speaking for 4 minutes and 2 seconds because I'm gaining that knowledge. I'm looking at this little clock over here. So that is the knower of the field. And I know so many things. Whatever my senses come in contact with, that is how I acquire knowledge. And so we just go one step further, and Krishna continues answering the question. And you should understand that I'm the knower in all bodies, and to understand this body and its knower is called knowledge. That is my opinion. Well, very interesting, because I'm the knower in this body. And Krishna says, to understand this body and its knower is knowledge. So knowledge, as we mentioned and we emphasize, is to know this body, and specifically to know the difference between the body and the knower of the body, or the spirit soul who's present within this body. And this is a pervasive topic throughout this entire chapter. But there's a difference between us and Krishna. And what's that difference? Krishna says, I'm the knower in all bodies. So sure, we know this body, but Krishna knows everybody. Every body and everybody. So Krishna is aware of everybody. I'm aware of what's going on in my body, and I know what are the pains and pleasures of this body, but I may empathize with someone else, but I don't really feel what they feel, and I don't exactly know what they think. But here Krishna is saying, but I know everybody. He's within everybody as the Supreme Spirit, and he knows what's going on in every tree, in every blade of grass, every bird, every human, every animal, every other species of life on this planet or on other planets. Yes, there is life on other planets. So Krishna, therefore, is answering these questions, which are very important questions for us. Once again, this body is the field, number one. Who knows this body is called the knower of the field. We are the knower. Then, Krishna is the knower of all bodies. And to understand this body and its knower, that is classified as knowledge. Now, when we go by that classification of what knowledge is, which starts with knowing the body and the knower of the body, knowing the difference between the soul and the body, then we can see that what's classified as knowledge in our world today doesn't get much appreciation from the words of the Bhagavad Gita. We know so many other things, but we don't know who we are. And therefore, in the context of Bhagavad Gita, in the eyes of Bhagavad Gita, unless you know this, you are not in knowledge. And all of these other things, we may acquire so many different arts, but they themselves don't constitute knowledge. So, once again, in summary, the body is the field. Who knows this body is the knower of the field. The one who knows all bodies is Krishna. And to understand this body and its knower, that is called knowledge. Hare Krishna. And this is Krishna's opinion.